So I recently uploaded a video about my opinion on the Brittney Griner Victor Bout trade, Merchant of Death. I did say that I think it was a terrible trade, but I also had about 3 or 4 minutes of misinformation about what she was actually caught with. She was actually caught with, according to other sources, THC oil, which is definitely stronger than CBD oil. Both, however, are derived from the cannabis plant. And I will double down in saying that had it just been CBD oil, I honestly believe she'd still be in the same place that she is right now, because anything derived from cannabis is considered illegal in the country of Russia as well as other parts of the world. So with that being said, I'm being joined by friend Brian Sales, Warriors Collection brand, strong military advocate, and kind of tell us a little bit about you really quick, and we'll get to the second half of this piece.
You know, as you already said, all those great things and more. Yeah, let's jump into it.
So we both universally agree that we don't think it's a good trade. Yeah. What do you think about Brittney Griner as a person? It's important that I ask this question because I think that it's very polarizing. She's a very polarizing individual.
Yeah, I just don't have an issue with it. I feel like if you go to another country, it's good to know, what their rules and their guidelines are. But like you said so well in the episode, sometimes you forget things. Sometimes you forget things, and it happens. The only issue I have is the trade.
Yeah,
the trade. And well, let me back up. Let's highlight the fact that she hates this country and everything that this country is. I would say I don't like that. And for her to want to come back to a country you hate so much, you feel like it's so wrong in so many things. Do your 9 years and become a resident of Russia.
So I understand that rhetoric. I understand that it's like, okay, and I'd mentioned it. I don't think I said it on the piece, but I mentioned it in a comment where it's kind of the Colin Kaepernick scenario, right? Where people are like, well, if you don't want to kneel or you don't want to stand for the national anthem, you think that this country, and she's not wrong in a sense where there's definitely some, hardcore inequalities.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the right place to do it? My challenge to people who feel that way is not necessarily the people who are angry about it, but for people who want to take that stance. Okay, what are you doing in the community to make a difference? Because just by kneeling, that doesn't necessarily mean you're making a difference. You're just bringing attention to yourself, and then you take that attention. That's where Colin Kaepernick failed, in my opinion.
Yeah,
is he didn't actually do anything actionable, and so his cause started to fall apart. In this case, I don't want to get steered too far away, but I think people have a hard time separating their personal feelings towards somebody on the actual issue at hand. And that's kind of what I was saying, is that you have to suspend your dislike of her. And at the end of the day, she's still a U.S. citizen, whether we like it or not, that is detained in a hostile country, and we need to get her home. Now, I understand the outrage with the whole Paul Whelan thing.
Mm-hmm.
But what I found is we've been trying to get him, and they were like, no. I think once they had her, they knew they had a bargaining chip. They knew they had something to work with. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, they knew exactly. They knew they weren't going to give up the military one, especially the one that has all the information on what Russia is doing. If he's been, doing his job, then he probably has a lot of intel. And then to play devil's advocate, I would say, how hard was America trying to get him back? Maybe he has information on what America has been doing or not doing, or been, I feel like maybe America wasn't trying as hard, with everything that's going on, or maybe they were, and Russia wasn't then wanting to give him up because he knew too much. But the trade for the merchant
of death,
like, this man is back in Russia, finding weapons that we can't even get. This country is trying to ban weapons, and we're gonna give a man back he prides himself on finding weapons and selling weapons, and they have named him Merchant of Death. Like, how prestigious is this guy that he's been coined as the merchant of death? Like, what has he been getting?
Yeah, we had a gentleman comment on my last YouTube video, hot take video, and he did say, "Hey, it was THC. You're wrong." But then he sent me a link to Russian news, and as soon as I'm watching Russian news, we all know how Russia spends everything. They spend everything from their people. Granted, we could be guilty of that ourselves, but call me naive, but I don't think the White House is controlling every single news outlet we have. We still have
Right.
people that have independent reporting. We have people that, if you're a Republican, you don't care if there's Democrats in the White House, you can do everything you can, right, to knock them out. And if there's Republicans in the White House, if you're Democratic news, you want to do everything you can to knock them out. We know that Russia controls all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So the Russian machine is going to say, "Hey, victory for Russia," blah, 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 blah. So as soon as I got that link, I was like, okay, dude, let me read what you actually wrote and let me investigate on what you actually wrote. I have no interest in watching this Russian translated YouTube video because that's just as bad as some of the other stuff that I've seen.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, you have to separate your feeling. He must be really compassionate towards the whole Brittney situation, and he must has a real strong connection to THC or whatever. But I mean, you have to just look at it for what it is. We traded someone away to get a WNBA star player that hates this country. Again, she's a citizen. She hates this country. We gave them a total asset. We didn't gain an asset. Like, did we gain someone who's doing something big? And you said she played in Phoenix. You didn't even know
She
that.
plays in Phoenix. Yeah, I didn't even know. I don't follow the Phoenix Mercury. I don't follow them. I just don't.
Was she doing anything huge inside the community that set her apart? That put her on a pedestal or something?
Right. I've been here 9 years. I'm going to say not that I know of, but again, I don't really look into those affairs. But I don't. A lot of the sports teams around here have programs, but they seem to be very. Like, I know we have athletes that are in the community, but you don't really hear about them. You hear about NFL Play 60 or whatever, but I don't know the last Phoenix Mercury or Phoenix Suns community outreach. I don't see anyone walking with the police or walking with the people. Like, I don't see any of that. And some of that's controlled, obviously, by the organization, but still, I don't see it. So, yeah, I had no idea she was still playing.
Exactly. So she wasn't like a person of the people. There wasn't people out in Phoenix. Was there people out in Phoenix saying, "Bring Brittney home"?
I don't think so.
Was there a group of people marching? We need Brittney home today, like that. We gave them an asset. We didn't gain anything out of this. Again, I guess it's good for her family and her wife that they have her back. But for people to be mad, and again, I don't care. I just thought the trade was horrible.
Right. It was the biggest trade in WNBA history.
The only trade that has ever made headlines.
Yeah, it's the only trade. I mean, it's fun. It's fun to make fun of this, but at the end of the day, I think we can't be mad at Brittney.
Yeah.
We can be mad at the rest of the American people. We can be mad at the administration. We can be mad that Paul Whelan, what's the difference? The difference is your average American has no idea who he is.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a public star. And in this day and age, this era, you get the court of public opinion on your side. And I think that's ultimately what really happened here. I mean, as soon as, Vin Diesel says, "I need Brittney Griner home by Christmas," not saying that Vin Diesel is the reason why this happened, but that's just the example of a international star and other national people saying, "Bring Brittney home, bring Brittney home, bring Brittney home."
Mm-hmm.
So I think
I feel like maybe if the government had came out and been like, we're going to try to get Brittney and Wayland home.
They did.
See that if we were able to watch how that fell apart and be like, okay, it's either Brittney or nobody. And it's like, okay, well, let's get us Brittney. And then people are like, okay, well, we knew they were trying to get a package and the package didn't work. So we can bring Brittney home and go from there. I think people are mad because they felt like all the celebrities had so much say so in how this thing played out. I think that what people are mad about, when you have Hollywood stars and sports or athletes and different TV pundits speaking on things, and you feel like their voice matters more than what people feel like should be, recognized as a true American. There's a disconnect. So I feel like they should have packaged it and said, hey, this is what we're doing, instead of being reactive. If they would have been proactive, saying, hey, we're going to try to get Brittney and Waylon, instead of being reactive to the outrage. What about our U.S. Marine? And be like, oh, well, we try to get them. We don't know that.
So, that's an excellent point. And I'll finish with this. Had she loved America and never was in that controversy, it would, at the end of the day, it would still be, we just traded a WNBA gay black woman, political moves for the Merchant of Death. I don't think the bottom line would have changed.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And then, then people would have found something else. And then it would have been less about her hating America, more about her being a famous black athlete.
Uh-huh.
One thing I will add before we wrap this up is upon further research, after this guy had pointed out the fact that it was THC, there's at least 2 women that we know of that have been detained for something similar. Both THC products. One was a film student out of New York who spent 30 days in detainment and got out after paying like a $200-something fine. The other one was an Israeli American at the age of 26 who was actually sentenced to just over 7 years in prison herself, but was pardoned by Vladimir Putin in 2020 after meeting with the Israeli prime minister. So they pardoned. They didn't trade. They pardoned. So again, that kind of brings the whole thought that this was, we have a famous American and we can try to get our Merchant of Death and we'll see if they'll fold. And I'm not saying she should have stayed there, but again, I'll double back that we shouldn't have been in this position to begin with.
So she served 4 years before they pardoned.
I don't remember when she was. It was a 7-year sentence, and she was pardoned in 2020. I didn't look to see what year it was that she was actually sentenced.
So, I mean, Russia knew what they had.
Russia knew what they had.
Russia knew what they had.
They knew what they
wanted. And it happened.
Yep. All right.
They know what's going on over here, and they got the perfect gift wrapped basket because everything is so politicalized. She's gay, black, female, NBA star, or WNBA star, and that's perfect. They know that Hollywood and all the celebrities gonna be wanting her home, and there's so many issues surrounding that. Yeah, they knew.
They knew.
Yeah, yep. I agree.
So, Brian, go ahead and plug everything you have.
Visit www.warriorscollectionbrand. We have coffee. We encourage people to get outdoors, so we have a lot of outdoor equipment. Our coffee we donate to an organization called Code of Vets, who help veterans in real time, whether it's utilities, rent, groceries. A lot right now, we're struggling with a lot of veterans that are losing their homes. So if you can't purchase, at least share the website. Warriors Vision podcast, check that out. Apple, Spotify, Google, all that amazing stuff. And boom, there it is.
Thanks, Brian. You guys can catch me on Hard Parking with Jay Finning, the non-automotive podcast where society and culture comes first, like this topic. And if there's time, we talk about cars. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Now it's stripping time.
Ain't nobody got time for that.